When anime strikes on a trend, it wastes no time in pumping out as much of that kind of content as possible. So this week the trend, and Reliant K reference, that one takes me back to my teen years, in anime is I'm secretly overpowered, but my tarred co-workers don't seem to realize it and fired me. The Too Perfect Saint, tossed aside by my fiance and sold to another kingdom, is the story of a woman named Philia, a saint who happens to be someone who can use magic and banish demons, blessed with extraordinary skill in all areas of her duties as a magic-wielding protector of the people dedicated to eradicating monsters. She's so blessed at this, in fact, that she is about single-handedly responsible for the prosperity of whatever nation she happens to be in. And that fact is proven by her not doing it just once, but twice. You think, though, that this kind of ability, the kind where one could shape the fate of an entire nation, would be easily recognizable and would earn you at least the slightest bit of appreciation from your countrymen because, well, you're making all their lives easier. But you'd be wrong, because people are ungrateful pricks. Philia's one major flaw happens to be that she's not a people person. She's never rude nor prickly. She's never been mean to anyone. In fact, quite the opposite. She's very heroic and noble. But her lack of facial expressions leads a lot of people to completely disregard the fact that she's single-handedly holding down the fort in that country. Thus, they treat her like she's trash. All because she doesn't smile enough for everyone. Honestly, while this show's core tenets are a very dime-a-dozen set of concepts that are probably going to become the next big trend in anime over the next couple of years, it delivers on them well enough to be enjoyable. You'll spend the bulk of the show watching Philia perform as one of the most exceptional saints in all of history after the country that has no appreciation for her, which I will continue to refer to it as that because I do not care to remember the overcomplicated names, throws her out and is glad to be rid of her in favor of her less capable younger sister, who happens to appear more charming and smiles. But rather than dwell too much on the damage that this would do to someone's mental state, they go immediately to work talking about how much of an overperformer she really is. The fact that she was able to set up barriers across this new country within a couple of days of being there seems to have stun-locked her new servants, so much so that they started to insist that she do less work for the country because they rapidly became concerned with her well-being considering how effective she was. Basically, Philia's character arc in this, over the course of the first 6 episodes, has pretty much been to learn a bit of selfishness and to think of herself at least a little and not dedicate everything she is to work, trying to earn the approval of everyone around her. This part is the comedic and heartwarming part of the show. Philia consistently baffles everyone with her abilities and grows closer to the guy positioned as her love interest. That's all well and good, but it doesn't really have any strong upsides to it. And that's where the other part is, because in all honesty, the real juicy part of this is the younger sister revenge plot going on in the background. Turns out Philia's younger sister, Mia, adores her, idolizes her even, and is really the only person familiar with Philia enough to be considered as having a good relationship with her. So when Philia is sold off by her fiance, the prince of the nation that didn't appreciate her, and even her own parents, Mia is quick to pick up on something shady going on. And that starts her investigation into the events that led up to her sister's sudden departure without any word, and ultimately her resolution to absolutely ruin the chauvinistic dickhead of a prince with an inferiority complex. It's a nice touch to see someone cares about Philia enough to feel rage at everything that happened to her. And all that is coupled with some rather ominous foreshadowing going on centered around some dreadfully dark ancient history. So that part of the story I actually do quite enjoy. But that's a B-plot. All that said, it's enjoyable but not amazing. The fact that its core is along the lines of a pre-built story style does it no good. So while it's a decent execution of an existing story structure with a somewhat interesting B-plot going on, the bulk of the show is actually spent on the less interesting parts of Philia being the bestest ever, and that doesn't exactly earn it any bonus points. So it entertains, but it's an easily skippable anime if you don't have the time or you're just sort of tired of this trope.